everyone, it's Katrina coming here to you from the hub in our second floor remaker space. We got a lot of requests last night to address a blog post that we put up on Sunday that would explain to you sort of how you could hubify your recycling for the big game on Sunday. So just wanted to take this opportunity to kind of go over some of the items that were mentioned in there and some of the advice that we've given as to what could help. So the first thing, obviously, we would like to think about in reduce, reuse, recycle would be to think about ways to reduce the waste in the first place. So if you go to our website and you see that blog, it will actually kind of walk you through the idea of creating a party box that would be full of reusable things like plates and cloth napkins, cloth tablecloths. That way you're eliminating a bit of that plastic waste that would normally be created. But we live in the real world and we know that plastic is ubiquitous. So we just wanted to sort of address the sort of things that you could use for your party, and if you want to recycle it, the hub is an option as far as where you can take those items. So if you aren't familiar, or if you're just learning about who we are, Cincinnati Recycling and Reuse Hub is basically on a mission to provide centralized sustainability through supporting our current recycling infrastructure. Meaning there's lots of items that you can recycle curbside, and so we'll encourage you to do that and then bring the things that can't go curbside to us to make sure that they stay out of the landfill. We've been around for several years and we've just crossed over the 377 tons diverted recently. So we've been busy and we're going to keep getting busier as more and more learn about us. And so hopefully today in this little short video, I can offer some advice for you on what you can use, and you can pass it along, or if you end up going to a celebration or party on Sunday, you'll know that certain things don't have to go in the trash and you can take those home with you and then bring down to the hub when we're open. So I want to start first with a big one that we get a lot of down here, which is cups. So everybody's got to drink a little bit when they make when they're having a party. So there are certain cups that are going to go into your curbside, which would be number 1 and number 5 plastic cups. A big no-no for curbside recycling would be a colored party cup, like this one, like the solo cups. Any of those you can bring to us. Also in that same number 6, you've got these little kind of like fancy glasses. So if you happen to use either of these, you don't want to put those in curbside. You want to just rinse them and then bring them to the hub when they're clean and dry. Similarly, styrofoam cups cannot go into your curbside recycling. So if you happen to be at a party or you've got some of these on hand, you don't have to trash them. You can bring them to the hub. They just need to be clean and dry. Food stains are okay with styrofoam though, because it's a porous product and it absorbs that. So as long as it's clean and dry, even if it's stained, that's okay. That covers your cups. As far as plates go, because you got to eat off of something. Obviously, if you've got reusable china that you've thrifted from the thrift store and you can have that in your party box, great. If you're using disposable plateware, again, something like styrofoam plates, you can wash these. Food stains are okay, but you can bring these to the hub to be recycled with our food and color styrofoam collection. Or you might have people that have these like lovely little decorative plastic plates at their parties, and these are something that we can accept as well as at the hub. The only plates that we can't do anything with after one of these get-togethers would be a paper plate. We don't accept those here at the hub, and you cannot recycle those curbside either. As far as utensils go, if you've got like the one-time use, or you've gone to like a dollar store, or you go to a party where somebody's bought this and they're using it for serving, these can come to the hub. Same with if you got something yummy from Buskin and they've got these plastic things for serving, we can take those and recycle those at the hub as well. And like these one-time use guys. We also accept any kind of plastic servingware. So If you haven't had a chance, like I said, to create your own little party box and thrift some silverware that you can bring out when you have extra guests, and you've just picked up a box of these disposable plastic utensils, go ahead and use them, rinse them off, let them air dry, and then you can bring them down to the hub. We've got a little hamper for just the unwrapped utensils, as well as wrapped utensils. If you happen to get takeaway and they give you too many of those packets and you don't use those, instead of trashing them, you can bring them to us and then we pass them on to an end user that can utilize them. If you have folks that are drinking out of straws at your party, or if you make fancy drinks and you've got the little plastic stirrers, we can also take those here at the hub. And for our little ones who might be running around at your get-togethers, if they're all pumped full of these like little juice pouches, we can recycle these at the hub. They can't go curbside, but they don't need to go to the trash. You can also bring the straws and include those, and we'll recycle those as well. Also along the lines of like your servingware and serving dishes, say you get something like one of these guys and you have too wild of a party and it cracks and then, or it's not usable and you want to recycle it, we can accept these here at the hub as well, and we'll recycle those with our rigid plastics. You just have to look for a number on the object, and if you don't see a number, we've got 2 bins that are marked no number. Stuff for that's smaller, which is like smaller than the palm, and then stuff for things that are like this that are larger. Also, if you have like a fancy one-time use plastic that for whatever reason you're done, the party host that you go to the party is done with it, again, you don't have to trash this. This can come to the hub. If it's something that's able to be reused, we'll put it up in our 4th floor reuse space, which, if you're not familiar, we have a 4th floor that's about 10,000 square feet where we put items out for reuse. So again, we'll evaluate those, but again, if it's got a crack or something, you're like, oh, this is too gross, I don't want to put this out, or you're embarrassed or something and you don't want to reuse it, you can recycle this at the hub. Lots of people also make dips and stuff like that, and they put them in these like disposable, easy to kind of travel with aluminum pans. This is not something that your curbside recycling can accept. However, we can take it here at the hub. We just need you to rinse it out and let it be free of like food and debris. So you can bring those. We'll recycle those, as well as if you've covered any dishes with your aluminum foil pieces. This cannot go into curbside, but again, we can take it. So just rinse it out or rinse it off so that there's no food or debris, and then once it's dry, you can bundle it up like this for easy travel. I know we've got a few people watching live. We'll be posting this after we get through all these items, but I think I left the comments on, or if you have questions, feel free to jump in. I'll have to figure out how I answer those, or if I can see them, but I'm happy to do that if we get to that point with everyone. Another thing for your big game parties, if you're having some beverages, like say you've got 6-pack of beer or something, and it comes with one of these PackTech pieces on the top, we can take these. Sometimes they look like this. So PackTechs will recycle here at the hub. They do not go curbside. We do not accept any cans here at the hub. The only aluminum kind of product you can put into your curbside recycling bin would be like a beer can or a soda can, something like that. So you give them the can, we'll take the PackTech that had them all bundled together. If you're not a beer drinker, say you like wine, you finish off that bottle, you can rinse it out, and then put that into your curbside. Glass recycling, they'll take anything that was designed to sell a beverage or food item in. So think pickle jars, salsa jars, stuff like that as far as glass, and then glass bottles that, you know, clearly Canadian water comes in that, or if you've got wine, you can put that into your curbside recycling, but you might have one of these little corks that came off of the wine bottle. Bring those down to the hub. We will send it up to our 4th floor. We've got lots of crafters and artists that will do fun things with these. Yesterday, in fact, we were actually like completely out of corks at one point in the day because somebody is soundproofing with them. So if you know who that person is, I'd love to see the pictures of how they do that with the corks. Moving along, thinking about some food packaging. If you happen to be grilling out, if it's warm enough, and you've got folks who make hot dogs or hamburgers with a bun bag, we can take both the bread tie to recycle here at the hub, as well as the bread bag itself. This goes in, bread bags go into our store drop-off collection, with the exception of items like this. Ballpark is a special collection called Bimbo Bakeries, and we actually get points and recycle these with TerraCycle. So if you happen to use any of those brands that are listed on the Bimbo Bakery site, you can bring those to us. It's stuff, most often we see Ballpark, Bobley, Thomas. There's a whole giant list that falls under that category. But so bring those along and we'll recycle those. As far as chips go, and we're thinking about having some of those dips and stuff, a lot of people use tortilla chips. So tortilla chip bags. This one is a late July bag that I'm showing you because, again, we have a special collection. And this is over with our TerraCycle items where we get points for this specific brand. But if you happen to buy just a generic brand, or if you've got a brand you're loyal to that's not late July, we can accept these in our flexible film collection. Also in our flexible film collection would be any kind of chip bag or pretzel bag that's foil lined. These cannot go into your curbside, and they cannot go into store drop-off collections. So we would encourage you to bring those to us as well. And then another big TerraCycle collection that we get a lot of points for, and you'll hear a lot of people, a lot of the volunteers mentioning when you come in to drop off, is Kroger brand. So whether that is going to be this like Simple Truth Organic, you know, just good old traditional Kroger, or Private Selection. So if you've got cheese and you've used that in a dip that you've prepped, or this one came off of the top of a container, a rigid container holding lettuce. This all can go into our Kroger collection. And in fact, we can also recycle the bottom that would have gone, or would have been a part of this salad container. And that hard part is usually number 1, which cannot go into your curbside recycling, but you can bring that to us and we'll recycle it here at the hub. I want to talk a little bit too about compostable materials. So sometimes you'll have compostable clamshells like this, or you'll have cups like this. The thing with compostable or PLA plastics that's a little tricky, I think, for the public is you think you're doing the right thing because you've got this compostable material. However, you cannot, these will not break down, and you can't put them in like your normal compost at home. They have to be under like a commercial grade composting facility. So I believe that Compost now will transport that those materials. So if you happen to use compost with that company, it's likely that these will get composted the way they need to. But otherwise, I mean, if they're more expensive than your styrofoam or your Solo cups, like these can get recycled. So I don't want to sound like that guy from the local news, like don't waste your money, but that's the reality of this industry. So also other things that you would use for entertaining or that you might see at your big game parties would be if somebody's being healthy and they're going to bring some fruit, but they didn't want to cut it up at home themselves and bring their own bowl, and so they stopped by like Kroger or wherever to get, you know, I think this was probably watermelon. This is a number 1 PET, and you can find the numbers usually on the lid or on the base, but hopefully that's showing up. So this is a special collection that we're the only people in the region that will take these items so for recycling. So we want your number 1s that are not things that are curbside material, like a bottle or like a cup. So those go to curbside, but any other number 1s you have, so whether that was, oh sorry, this was pineapple chunks, not watermelon. These are all things that we can take here at the hub and recycle, so you don't have to trash them. They don't have to go in the trash. We can avoid that. Similarly, this one is another number 1. Again, it's just like right down there. I couldn't find the bottom to this when I was digging through our like pile of stuff upstairs, but this would have been like one of those deli platters that had that base that's usually black, and it's like pre-made sandwiches or cookies and stuff like that. So again, if you haven't had time to prep food in your own containers at home and you're picking up something on the way and you arrive to a party with something like this, please don't trash it. Bring it to the hub. We would love to recycle it for you. Sometimes the base and the lid might have different numbers. So again, just best practice is always to search for that number on the container. And if you absolutely cannot find a number, when you come down to drop off, put it in your I don't know bag and ask one of the volunteers, because we've got some young volunteers. They've got good eyes. They can usually find the numbers for you. Or if you can't find that number, we've got bins that we call no number. So the materials that aren't labeled can go into that. I've also brought along to show you sort of, this is like a chicken package. So say you've picked up some fried chicken to take to your party, or somebody else has brought this and you see it at the party. Again, this is not something that has to go in the trash. It cannot go curbside, but you can bring it to the hub and we'll recycle it for you. This one is polypropylene. It's a number 5 plastic, so you can see that right there. And if you're ever struggling to find the number, or like maybe the number isn't imprinted deeply enough for you to see what it is, you can try looking at the bottom for like the letters that'll be listed there. And so PP goes with number 5 because it's polypropylene, whereas on a number 6, like this Solo cup or off-brand Solo cup, 6 is polystyrene, so you'll see the PS there. So if you can't find a number, you can try to look for those letters. That's a helpful way to do it. And then I've mentioned this in another video, and I think we've mentioned this on our social media, but another tip is if you're trying to sort stuff at home, take a big Sharpie marker and just write that 5 so big, because then when you arrive at the hub and you're pulling out your items and you've got it where you're sorting, instead of standing there and trying to look for this like tiny little number, you've got it really big, and it makes your drop-off process like really smooth and really easy. If anybody happens to bring any kind of pre-made cupcakes or baked goods, this one is also a number 6. So sometimes it's like on the corner in one of the individual little spots, but we talked about this in the other video we did though too, that your number 6s are gonna sound like punk rock and be very grating on the ears and kind of a little more aggressive, whereas your number 1s, easy listening. So when in doubt, if you're just doing a squeeze test, you can get your ear trained so you kind of have a little bit more familiarity with what the materials sound like. So now, if there aren't any questions, I've got a request, so I'm gonna hit that to see. Likes the punk. I love punk too, don't get me wrong. It's just sort of an easy way to address that for people to explain what they think of for the sound. It's got a pitchier kind of quality to it, so I think that's everything. We don't have any questions just yet. Okay, I'll keep going. So obviously a big part of like if you're, how clean is clean? When you say to bring your items clean and dry? I think if you have to ask if it's clean, like, you know, they say if you have to ask, then it probably isn't. Again, if it's like something like one of these like takeout containers, or, you know, it's got, rinse it out. You don't have to like polish the thing clean, but rinse it out and it just air dry. I mean, you don't even have to like, sometimes I'll just soak stuff in soapy water and then pour it out and let it air dry, because who cares if it's got like soap residue? That's not that bad. But certain products, like I said, are not going to get rid of food stains like styrofoam. So food stains are okay with styrofoam, but we don't want to see any crumbs or icky stuff. So like the items that I've held up, you've noticed I took these right off of our processing area on the 4th floor. So this is clean. This is clean enough, I should say. So hopefully that helps. And speaking of clean, my little segue into the next part. So if you are hosting a party and you're party prepping and you got to clean your house for all your guests, or similarly, if you've, afterwards, when everybody's left and it's time to clean up again, I want to talk a little bit about cleaning products, just to sort of educate you on some things you might not know that are recyclable. So one of the weirdest collections we have here is that we can take your dirty Swiffer pads and your dirty Swiffer dusting thingies. That's the official word for it. And we can recycle these. We have a collection downstairs on our TerraCycle shelves. We know they're going to be kind of gross. That's fine. But if you use those products when you're cleaning, you don't have to put it in the trash can. You can bring it to the hub and we'll recycle them. I want to address something like this, like glass cleaner. So you've washed your windows for your party and say you run out and it's totally empty. Metal cans like this, take this little plastic nubbin off. You can take this plastic lid off. Those parts can come to the hub and then the can itself will go into your recycling curbside. Also, products like this that is a plastic bottle, has a plastic cap, you are going to, if it's empty and emptied out of product, put the cap back on plastic bottles, and then those go into curbside. So we never should see any of this here at the hub. What we will see is a product like this. It's a plastic bottle with a trigger head. Bottles go to curbside. Plastic bottles like this will go to curbside, but they can't do anything with that trigger head part curbside. So bring that to the hub, just like this, free of product. And we've got a bin over in our TerraCycle area where you can drop those off. And so those don't have to go to the trash. We also get a lot of questions about containers like this that are wipes. These are able to be recycled curbside. So we never really want those down here at the hub. So again, you just reattach a plastic lid to the plastic container and you put that all in curbside once it's emptied out. If you have a lot of guests and people that are using your restroom, you probably have something like this Febreze in your in your washroom. So we can also accept these through TerraCycle. A lot of them will often have like a reminder on the bottle itself to show that to you, but we have a special bin where you can bring these and put them over in our TerraCycle shelves and we'll get those recycled for you. If you happen to buy a product that's wrapped in this like flexible film, so you've cleaned your bathroom for your guests and then you bought new product to do that with, this stuff doesn't have to go in the trash. This is something that you can bring to the hub and we'll recycle this. You can always look at the label to see if it's got store drop off written there or if it's just plastic. If it's just the plastic, it goes in our flexible film. The other sort of thing that we talk about with this, like we said with the rigid plastic sounding punk rock, when we talk about flexible film, we're like, is it crunchy? So listen to that and see if it's crunchy. Then it'll go into our flexible film collection. And again, if you're not sure, because recycling is easy, but it's not simple, make a, I don't know, bag. Lots of our hub customers do that and we love it because then you're not putting it something where it doesn't go and you're learning a little bit along the way and we're happy to help teach you that. So something like that would be part of our flexible film collection. And then again, if you have a lot of guests, you might go through a lot of toilet paper. So product overwrap like this, that goes over like your paper towels and your toilet paper. This is part of our store drop-off collection. That's a revenue stream for the hub. So we want your store drop-off materials. And it's called store drop-off because historically there were merchants that had these bins at the front of their shops and people could go and drop those off when they were on their way to the grocery store. We want them because, yes, it helps support our hub, make some funds. But then also, the important part for us, too, is that we can guarantee that things you bring to us are, in fact, recycled and go to reputable places for the end users that we select. So something else to think about so that you're not wish cycling something away. So we'll love to have your store drop-off materials. Also related to that, because I said paper towels, that made me think of the last little point I want to bring up, which is some things that we can't do anything with, like paper napkins, paper plates, paper towels, stuff like that, that does just go to the trash. There isn't an option as far as recycling that. So we'd encourage you, especially if it's plates. Um, we started this video out mentioning you can use styrofoam plates, you can use plastic plates for recycling. If you haven't already started a party box that has reusable plates that you can use again and again, that's one way to sort of avoid the landfill. Um, but, oh, I forgot one thing I want to bring out too, because this is another little weird one that we take. If you bought some of that cheese for your sandwiches or whatever, and you have these little silica packets, we'll take those too. So if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. But if not, we will share this later on our page. But I just want to kind of show you like all of the things that we have here. I'm in our second floor, so it's nice and quiet. But like, again, these are all items that you might have for your Super Bowl party. Like everything from your cleaning to your eating to your serving. And these are all items that don't need to go into the trash and that you can bring to us and that we'd be happy to take. So I hope that helps answer some questions, gives you some ideas, and maybe helps you plant a seed in anyone's mind or in their ear when you attend a party, just to sort of give a gentle nudge that there is a lot that can be diverted from a landfill. Like I said, we've done 377 tons, which is just amazing. And I say we because it's you guys that come and help support us do that. So I hope that helps you with a little bit of your prep work. We will be open tomorrow, which is Saturday, from 10 to 2, available for the drop-off as well as shopping on our reuse area. Oh, so if you do need extra hangers, if you're going to have a lot of guests with coats, we've got those up on the 4th floor. I think that concludes my scatterbrained thoughts. Like I said, this is a little more cohesive on our blog where I explain how you can create a party box, and you can have sort of a little prep area for any kind of hosting you're doing, so you can avoid one-time use items. But we appreciate you tuning in and hope you have a good day. Thanks.